My girlfriend stood in the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, laughing in that bright, performative way she saved for certain people. I was at the counter slicing vegetables for dinner, the knife moving in steady rhythm while I half listened to her side of the conversation. "Yes, of course we're coming," she said, glancing at me with a quick smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "The lake house sounds perfect for the long weekend." She paused, listening, then let out a little sigh. "Actually, Ryan won't be able to make it after all. He's got a work thing that weekend. You know how it is." I kept chopping carrots, the blade hitting the board with soft, even thuds. She turned away slightly, lowering her voice. No, it's fine. I'll still come. It'll be good to catch up with everyone properly." The conversation drifted on old college friends planning a reunion at someone's family lake house upstate. She'd been talking about it for weeks, excited in a way that felt increasingly distant from me. I'd assumed we were going together. Apparently not. She ended the call and set the phone down, turning back to me with an apologetic tilt of her head. "Sorry about that. Ethan asked if we were both coming, and I figured it would be easier if I went alone." I wiped my hands on a towel and looked at her. "Easier how?" She hesitated, smoothing a strand of hair behind her ear. "It's just the old group. A lot of them have moved into really big roles now, partners at firms, startup founders, that kind of thing. They're all bringing spouses or partners who are in the same world, you know? I didn't want you to feel out of place." I nodded slowly. "Because I fix restaurant point-of-sale systems for a living." Her cheeks colored. "It's not that. You're great at what you do. It's just..." The conversations always turned to finance, venture capital, board seats. "Last time we all got together, you looked bored out of your mind." I remembered that dinner 2 years ago. I'd sat quietly while they argued about seed rounds and valuation multiples, nodding politely when spoken to. I hadn't been bored. I'd been trying not to point out how many of their revolutionary apps were built on tech I maintained every day. "So you'd rather go without me than have to explain what I do?" She exhaled, frustration flickering across her face. "Ryan, please don't make this dramatic. This one weekend. I'll be back Sunday night. We'll do something nice when I return. Just us." I set the knife down. The kitchen felt suddenly too warm. "Sure," I said. "Go. Have fun." Relief softened her features. She crossed the room and kissed my cheek. "Thank you for understanding. You're always so reasonable." She went to pack, humming as she moved through the apartment. I finished dinner alone, ate in front of the television, and went to bed early. She slipped in beside me hours later, smelling faintly of the lavender lotion she used before trips. I pretended to be asleep. The next morning, she left in a flurry of bags and excitement. I waved from the doorway, watched her Uber disappear down the street, and closed the door with a quiet click. Then I started planning. I didn't rage. I didn't text her angry paragraphs or call her parents. I simply opened my laptop and began making lists. First, logistics. We'd lived together for 3 years in this rented loft in Brooklyn. The lease was in both our names, but I earned more steadily. I could cover it alone if needed. Most of the furniture was mine. I'd bought it when I moved in, and she'd added decorative touches. My clothes, books, tools, gaming setup, the espresso machine I'd saved for, those were easy. I called my sister, Lauren. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, you free this weekend?" "Mostly." "Why?" "I'm moving out. Today. Can I borrow your van and crash on your couch for a bit?" A long pause. "You and Vanessa are done?" "Pretty much. I'll explain when I see you." She didn't push. "I'll be there in an hour." While I waited, I packed with methodical calm. Clothes first, folded neatly into suitcases. Books into boxes. I left the decorative pillows she loved, the framed prints she'd chosen, the throw blankets that smelled like her perfume. I took my cast iron pans, my knives, my coffee grinder. I left the wine glasses she'd registered for even though we weren't engaged. Lauren arrived with coffee and quiet support. We worked all afternoon. She asked only once, "You sure about this?" "I've never been surer of anything," I said, taping a box shut to be why evening the loft looked half empty. My desk was gone from the corner, my gaming chair missing from the living room. The shelves looked bare without my books. I left the television. She'd bought it with a bonus last year. Last task. The note that I sat at the kitchen island with a plain sheet of paper. "Vanessa, you won't have to explain me to anyone anymore. Rent is paid through the end of next month. My key is on the hook. Please don't try to contact me. Ryan Short." Clean. No room for negotiation. I placed it in the center of the island, set my key beside it, and locked the door behind me for the last time. Lauren's couch became home for the next 10 days. Her apartment was small, cluttered with plants and half-finished art projects, but it was peaceful. No curated aesthetic, no pressure to present a certain life. Just my sister making terrible omelets and asking gentle questions when I felt like talking. I didn't talk much at first. I went to work, came home, ate takeout, slept. I canceled the joint streaming accounts, changed passwords, removed her as emergency contact on forms. I unfollowed her friends on social media one by one, quietly pruning connections that had never really been mine. The numbness lasted about 2 weeks. Then, slowly, space opened up inside me. Space to think about what I actually wanted. I'd always meant to get my network engineering certification. Vanessa had rolled her eyes whenever I mentioned it. "You already make good money. Why stress yourself with more exams?" So I'd let it slide. Now I enrolled in an online course and started studying every evening. I reconnected with Sam, an old coworker who'd moved to Austin. We started playing online again, trash talking like we used to before life got complicated. I joined a local climbing gym. The first session left me shaky and exhilarated. The second felt like coming home. 3 weeks after the move, a text came from a number I didn't recognize. "Ryan, it's me. We need to talk." "This is insane." I stared at the screen. The tone was pure Vanessa, annoyed that I'd disrupted her narrative. I didn't reply. The next day, "I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. It wasn't about you being less, it was about the group dynamic. Come home so we can work this out." Still nothing from me. Day 4. "The apartment feels wrong without you. I miss hearing you make coffee in the morning. Please just answer." I almost felt the old pull, the desire to smooth things over, to be the reasonable one who fixed problems. Then I remembered her voice on the phone. Ryan won't be able to make it after all. I left the messages on read. A week later my phone rang. Her best friend Claire. I let it go to voicemail. Claire left a message, voice tight with disapproval. "Ryan, whatever Vanessa said, she didn't mean it like that. She's been crying nonstop. You're punishing her for one thoughtless comment. Call her." I deleted it and blocked the number. The first direct sighting came a month later. I was at the climbing gym on a Thursday evening, chalking my hands before a tricky overhang, when I glanced toward the entrance and saw her. She stood just inside the doors, scanning the space, wearing the expensive athleisure she'd started buying last year. Our eyes met. She walked over slowly, as if approaching a skittish animal. "Hey," she said softly. "I hoped I might find you here." I lowered my hands, breathing steady. "You shouldn't have come. I just want 5 minutes." Her eyes were red-rimmed, makeup minimal. She looked tired in a way concealer couldn't hide. I waited. "I was awful," she said. "I diminished you to make myself feel better about keeping up with people who don't even matter. I didn't realize how much I relied on you being there, quietly supporting me, until you weren't." I nodded once. "Okay. That's it? Okay? You said it. I heard it." Frustration flashed across her face. "Ryan, I'm trying to apologize." "I accept your apology," I said calmly. "But it doesn't change anything." She stared at me, So that's it? 3 years, and you're just done. I'm done with being an inconvenience you manage. Her mouth opened, closed. For the first time, she had no script. I hope you figure things out, I said. Take care. I turned and walked toward the wall. I didn't look back to see if she left. 5 months later, I had my own place again. A small one-bedroom in Queens with tall windows and quiet neighbors. The certification exam was behind me. I'd passed on the first try. A new job offer came shortly after, senior network engineer at a growing fintech company. Better pay, remote-friendly, actual growth potential. I'd started dating casually. Nothing serious yet, just coffee with women who laughed at my jokes and didn't care about follower counts. One Saturday afternoon, I was at my favorite bookstore cafe. Laptop open, debugging a side project while sipping an iced Americano. A shadow fell across the table. I looked up. Vanessa stood there holding a paper cup, hair pulled back, wearing a coat I didn't recognize. She looked composed on the surface, but her eyes gave her away, uncertain, searching. Hi, she said. Mind if I sit for a minute? I closed the laptop. It's a free country. She sat opposite me, wrapping both hands around her cup. You look good. Happy. I am. She nodded, swallowing. I heard you got the certification. Congratulations. Thanks. A long pause. She glanced around the cafe, then back at me. I sold the loft, moved to a smaller place in Manhattan. The lake house weekend was awful. Everyone kept asking about you. I didn't have good answers. I waited. I've been in therapy, she said quietly, trying to understand why I needed to curate everything so carefully, why I was willing to hide someone I claimed to love. I felt a flicker of something, recognition maybe, not forgiveness, just acknowledgement that people can change, even if it's too late for it to matter to me. I'm glad you're doing the work, I said. Her eyes filled. Is there any chance, any at all, that we could try again? I'm not the same person. I looked at her for a long moment, really looked. The woman across from me was struggling, growing, hurting, but she wasn't my responsibility anymore. No, I said gently. There isn't. She pressed her lips together, nodding. A tear slipped down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly. I understand, she whispered. I really do. She stood. Take care of yourself, Ryan. You too. She walked out without looking back. The door chimed softly behind her. I opened my laptop again. The code was still there, waiting. I took a sip of coffee. Still cold, still good, and got back to work. The quiet wasn't empty anymore. It was full of possibility, built line by line, choice by choice. And for the first time in years, it was entirely mine.